What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. The brother who told you to stop using all that dark side energy, but you did it anyway, and now your ass is falling apart at the seams. And I am black up in your face again with some more pro black commentary. So, very interestingly, I've seen a lot of social media posts and a lot of news reports where people are speculating that the president, Donald Trump, is actually dying. And they've made it seem as if, signs of fatigue and the way his face looks and the way that his skin looks when he gets these IV treatments, that he might be heading towards an early grave. And well, I guess technically it's not an early grave based on his age, but with his lifestyle, it is looking more and more like he's probably not going to make it all the way to the end of his presidency. And it's through his own doing. It's not going to be because some fake ass assassination where someone clips him on his little ear. Is going to be because he is just an unhealthy and really a scummy individual. You know, Trump is one of these people who is very defiant when it comes to wanting to deliberately eat trash on a daily basis. Like, he's someone that, most presidents, they get like, health care and checkups and whatnot. And, they have a very strict diet to make sure that they're healthy and have lots of energy. But Trump likes to eat trash. He loves to eat McDonald's and all this other stuff. I think he even had McDonald's at the White House or whatever, right? Donald Trump is pretty much just one of these, in his mentality, he's very ratchet in that way. You can tell just by how he talks and how he responds to people. Typical wealthy New Yorker, just a very belligerent and scummy individual. So, he doesn't really take care of himself very well, and it's starting to show. They always say that being the president of the United States, it always puts wear and tear on your body. But when you are also a president that involves himself in lots of devilish activities, then it really is going to show on you. And Donald Trump is a devil. He's one of these demons that is very well practiced in using dark side and Sith energy. And when you are a Sith Lord and you use that dark side energy for any amount of time, your body starts to deteriorate. We all saw what happened to Emperor Palpatine in the Star Wars franchise. We all saw, if you read any of the Star Wars books and look at some of the other Sith Lords, they start to deteriorate in their body because, using all that evil energy, yeah, it's quick, yeah, it makes you powerful, but it's not healthy for your overall well-being. If you want another metaphor, just look at what happened to Gollum and poor Frodo when they wore the ring of Sauron. It had so much evil and malice in that ring that it drove them both insane, and it also messed them up on a very physical level. Gollum was basically a 500-year-old crackhead, and poor Frodo, he never got over having that ring on. He had to leave Middle Earth at the end. He couldn't even stay in Middle Earth no more. So those are two fantasy versions letting you know just how, when you do evil deeds and you're involved in evil acts, how it has an effect on your body. And that's probably what's happening to the Tangerine. He's becoming a bruised and spoiled Tangerine in that regard. It was very interesting over the weekend. Like, I was at this black event and I, just overheard some black girls talking about it, and they actually thought that Donald Trump had passed away. Like, they were seeing, these posts on social media, and I had to tell them, like, he's still alive, so don't start celebrating just yet. And it's the thing is, when it comes to people like Trump, even though he is deteriorating, I don't think he's going to go anywhere anytime soon. I don't think he's going to pass away anytime soon. I would be more surprised if he did. If he did kick the bucket, I'd be very surprised. Not to say that I would be, too upset about it, but I would not celebrate it either. Mainly because when you have an evil person like that in that position of power, if they do kick the bucket, the only thing that's going to happen is another evil person is going to take their place. In fact, when you are on the top of the trash pile of evil, what you'll have is a bunch of other scavengers just waiting, and they're all there chomping at the bit to take that position. They might even help you along, you know, get you off the mortal plane so that they can take your position. If you want another fantasy reference for that, just go ahead and watch or read Game of Thrones. It's all about these scumbags trying to take that top position, right? And usually the people who have any type of, respect or honor or who have any type of loyalty, those are the people that usually get taken out of the game first. And it's usually these very disgusting and corrupt people who make it to the top. And once again, I don't think anything bad is really going to happen to him. People like that seem to live for a long time. Like the more evil you do and the more terrible things you're involved in, the longer you stick around for some reason. We saw how long the Queen of England lasted and her consort, Prince Philip, how long that demon lasted, But because I think they last a long time because basically these types of people are social parasites. I know that the prevailing thought and the propaganda tells you that poor people or people who need any type of public assistance, like they're the social parasites, when the truth of the matter is the people at the top are the ones who are the social parasites because they live off of the blood, sweat, and tears of the people underneath them. It is the people that, have this so-called wealth and sit on top of people and have other people doing labor for them. They are the ones who are the true social parasites. It's not poor people at the bottom. Poor people at the bottom are not hurting anybody. They're not taking anything from you. It's these scumbags at the top who are sucking off all of your wealth and your resources to enrich themselves and their future generations, right? So that's something that people need to actually think about when they hear that term social parasite. And the tangerine with the lace front, he is one of the biggest ones. But, sucking up all that energy and living off the blood, sweat, and tears of people and taking land and just being an overall despicable human being, just being an overall despicable mutant that he is, it's causing his body to fall apart. And we'll see if he lasts long, but once again, I wouldn't be celebrating it because all that means is that the scumbag second in command, JD Vance, is just going to be step in there and be just as bad, if not more terrible than Trump. JD Vance is someone who is woefully incompetent, so it'd be even worse to see someone like him in that position. So you folks can let me know how you feel about it. Do you feel Trump is deteriorating at this point? Or do you think it's just all what he would say is fake news? Anyway, this is Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on a devil's back.